Let's get into our first topic, and that is the DOL. Department of Labor is coming up with this ruling soon, whether they're going to treat gig workers as employees or as independent contractors. There was a lot of comments that were going in, and last I heard that they were sorting through all of the quote unquote bot comments. So that's probably all the comments from rideshare drivers and gig workers alike saying, no, don't do this or something, depending on what way they want to go. But either way, the thing is, it hasn't gone away. We mentioned it previously, I think in the last week or two. Somebody had talked about it. There was really nothing that was coming about. But is the rule change or ruling going to be imminent? Let's be talking about that now. So, Sergio, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, man, this has been going on. Julie Su is the lady who was basically the author of AB5 in California before Prop 22 was pushed during the last national elections in 2020 by the gig companies with $220 million of their own money, which was the most expensive proposition in the history of the country. But as we know, the Department of Labor secretary not quit, but went to greener pastures. Marty Walsh, he became the NHL Players Association chief, so he can negotiate some good contracts for their players. And then the seat is vacant, but then Biden, appointed Julie Su, who was practically the author of AB5 in California, who is very pro-act supportive, who pretty much would like every gig worker to become an employee and give them the rights to unionize, collective bargaining, all that stuff, right? So
I think it's more so they can collect more taxes, but
yeah, more taxes, yeah, all that good stuff. So the process is going on. She's going through the Senate and House Judiciary committees, and she had her testimony. Once she gets appointed for good, at the moment, I don't think anything is going to happen, but the decision is going to be pretty imminent. The vote is going to come for her to, the up and down vote on her personally. And if she does, and all the inclination or all the expectation is that she will, because in both houses, Democrats have the majority. So if it goes party line, she's going to become the new Secretary of Labor. And once that happens, there's this DOL ruling that we've been waiting on for a few months now, and it may accelerate that process. And that DOL ruling makes things a lot easier for the government to say all gig workers should be employees of DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Lyft, whatever they are, right? Obviously, it's not going to be easy. Obviously, they're going to appeal that ruling. However, this is federal law, people. This is not state by state. So federal law precedes pretty much everything else. And, this article came out that really caught my interest. And obviously, it was by the Business Insider. And it says, misclassifying employees as gig workers creates a race to the bottom for businesses, Biden's top labor and antitrust regulators say. Now, you guys may agree with this or not agree with this. We're just putting out the news. We're here to inform and educate. Don't pound me with emails saying that you're this, you're that, please, okay? Now, on the middle screen is the points that they make, the summary of the points. Contractors lack many of the labor protections of workers directly employed by a company. I don't think anybody can disagree with that, right? As independent contractors, we do not have any benefits of being an employee, from healthcare to minimum wage to overtime to none of that. Okay, there you go. The second point was businesses have an incentive to misclassify workers as contractors to undermine their competitors, according to the DOJ Antitrust Division. Yes and no. For me, this is my personal opinion. So again, don't pound me later. Businesses do have an incentive to misclassify because their business models are based on something called no asset or low asset, meaning they don't own any of the cars. They don't do the driving. All they do, they're like an agent or an aggregator between us and the consumer, deciding on a 2 or 3-sided marketplace. 2-sided is rideshare, 3-sided is deliveries, that they decide pretty much on how much the driver will get paid and how much the consumer is going to get charged. So I kind of agree with this, to be honest with you, Chris, is that yeah, they do have an incentive to keep us, because if we all became, I mean, look, there's 3 million dashers in the US and there's that many or more rideshare drivers. These are active ones. Imagine all the non-active ones or super part-timers. I mean, it's
Hmm.
impossible that all 7 million of us are going to become employees of these companies with full benefits. It's just not going to work. These companies will go bankrupt overnight. So, that's one. And then the last point, misclassification may keep workers from finding a better workplace. That I am not sure. According to the government, we have lowest unemployment rates in the country ever. W-2s are plenty. There are a lot
Look,
of people
I
looking
mean,
for.
everywhere I go, everybody's got a help wanted sign.
Yeah, I
And
know, I know.
it's kind of been like that for a little while. And
Yeah,
a lot of it has to do with, I mean, there's a lot more remote jobs and stuff, so people can
yeah,
kind of find that. But it's a lot of people are going to DoorDash. A lot of people are going to Uber and Lyft and different places. So I don't know if they're finding a better workplace or not, but they have the option to. I mean, it just
yeah,
depends on where the person wants to be. And I think, if they have the option to go on and off anytime they want, that's kind of the
yeah.
whole thing when it comes to that flexibility. And
I
that
know, but that flexibility and freedom doesn't pay the bills, right? I mean, look,
no,
as a gig
you
worker,
got to
if
be
you're not making
disciplined.
enough money and your market's so oversaturated that your numbers are down drastically from specifically upfront fair days, since we don't have rate cards anymore and algos are going wild, and algo shaving is happening constantly on everything. It happened with surge first and boost next, and now gray clouds are covering every city. I mean, look, man, I can count on and on. It's not being negative, it's reality. Okay, so you guys are all sending me these emails, and then I'm just being your spokesperson here. So if things are bad, there's plenty of W-2s out there. I mean, I'm not going to stop anybody from going and getting a W-2 with benefits. There's nothing wrong with that. But somehow a lot of people are under the illusion that freedom and flexibility exists. Yes, to a certain degree it does, but you have to work when and where there is demand, Chris. If you just cannot just wake up at 3 a.m. and do rideshare, expect to make money. I mean, you're just not going to, right? So that freedom and flexibility argument goes so far, right?
Yeah.
But to me, look, I mean, this ruling is going to come down, people like it or not, and we're all going to get affected by it. I'm an active driver. I just did a Lyft guarantee last week, so I did 35 trips. I'm going to do trips. I do deliveries. I mean, I'm going to get affected personally. And do I look? If we were to take a poll now, I mean, we do take polls at the RSG. 70% of all gig workers say they want to stay independent. But on the other hand, my argument with that is, gig companies want to have the cake and eat it too. They treat you like an employee, and then they call you an
Yeah.
independent contractor.
Well,
That needs to
yeah.
end. So something has to give here.
That's what I asked in chat was, what would they rather be, remain independent contractor or employee?
Yeah,
And a lot of people are putting independent contractor, but then there's a few people who are saying, I see with employee benefits, if you could get that working, great.
yeah.
But
Go
the
to
other side of the
Seattle.
coin is, you're never really true independent contractors, because there were a lot of limitations that were placed on you that
Yeah,
you didn't have control over,
yeah.
where a normal independent contractor does have that.
Look,
So
in where I think I see this line really fuzzy when it comes to gig companies, Chris, is that a lot of them call you independent contractors. In most independent contractor work, the independent contractor himself or herself will name the price of the job. We
yep.
do not have that. That is the biggest distinction between us and a plumber, and because we are taking the tool of our work to work, like it's our car. So I'm saying, if I cannot name the price of the job and I don't agree with it, right, and I decline it, then you put me in a timeout or you log me out. See what's happening here now? That fuzzy line that you're calling me an IC, but you're
Hmm.
treating me like an employee of yours. So
Yep.
those are the things that needs to get fixed in the gig economy. Look, gig economy is great.
Yep.
And I go out and make $500 part-time, great. But there are a lot of people, 20% of the workforce supposedly is full-time, and those people need some sort of benefit, some sort of protection.
Yep.
Because I think this could be really detrimental to everybody in the chat and all the 6, 7, 8 million gig workers in the country. And this, by the way, this is not just rideshare and delivery workers. There are 60 million independent contractor freelancers in this country, and there are supposedly 600 different jobs that they do, small businesses and things like that. So it's going to affect pretty much everybody. This is like a huge umbrella that's going to cover everybody. So 6 million, 7 million gig workers doing deliveries in rideshare is not the issue here. There's another 55 million people who are truly independent contractors, like plumbers and electricians and air conditioning contractors. That includes strippers, by the way. So to me, hey,
doctors as well too.
Everybody's going to get affected by this.
Yep, doctors, real estate agents. There's a lot.
Accountants, you name it.
What we do for Harry here at the RideShare Guy. Technically, we're an independent contractor as well, freelancer. But either way, when it comes down to it, it's definitely a big thing, and it's something that we should all keep our eyes on. So I think it's something that is a gross overstep because you've had decades worth of jobs that people have been doing and doing well and getting compensated. Most people I think would say fairly when it comes to true independent contractors and stuff like that. Yes, the gig work is the Wild West. It's only 10, 11 years old right now. So it's still the Wild West when it comes down to it. So the dust is settling when it comes down to everything and figuring everything out, where things are. But honestly, if you can't control, a lot of facets within gig, like just gigs in general, whether it's Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Curry, Postmates, Postmates, but all the different ones that are out there, what are you going to be able to do when it comes to it? So that's a big thing. And I think what I'd like to see is let's go back to what Uber was doing when it was between AB5 and Prop 22, when they were allowing drivers to do, kind of like name their rates up to 5x. Bring that into it. Bring that whole thing. Bring back the multiplier surge.
But Chris, you know what our good old buddy Jeff says, who's not here, I think, today. So I hope you're feeling better, Jeff. He says there's circle of control, circle of influence, right? Those things we cannot control. I truly believe that. Now, there are certain things we can control, like the shaving, right? We're going to influence that, and we're going to try to control before it gets completely out of hand, right? But certain things we cannot control. Now, we're all adults. We don't have to do it. Nobody's putting a gun to our head to do this, okay? I mean, fair is fair. But at the same time, I don't want to be misclassified. Also, and you may call me a hypocrite, but I don't want to be an employee of these companies, put the Uber hat and Lyft shirt on and drive either, right?
No.
So my thing is like, we always say, what do we say? We have a model. It's working nice. It's working beautifully. In fact, I'm going to interview a Seattle driver for our Behind the Wheel series. Seattle, Washington State. It's working beautifully. It's been there for a year and a half. They have about 70%, close to 80% of employee rights. Great pay. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's accepting every trip pretty much. And it's been there for a year and a half. The world hasn't come to an end. Like Uber and Lyft said, oh, hell's going to freeze over, whatever. Nothing happened. So I'm going like, hey, but maybe we just got to look into that with the legislatures and, work towards something like that.
Yeah. I mean, something would be much better, especially if like I said, I'd like to see that where it came into, the naming the price or being compensated fairly with the time and distance. And, when you get the upfront fare being an estimate and expected time and distance that's supposed to be for that ride. So you kind of have a better idea of whether that ride's going to be worth it for you or not, knowing the pickup and drop off locations.
Yeah.
But then it's still based on the time and distance model. And so then that way, if it goes over by an hour and, 14 minutes, like what we were talking about last week, it's properly being adjusted as it's supposed to. So those types of things definitely need to be readdressed because what they're doing right now, especially with upfront fares, you have no idea what's going on. They say 70 something factors that factor into the price. Well, what's to stop you from saying, oh, we're going to just start decreasing, or we're going to pay driver A something different than driver B arbitrarily? There's all these things, and we're proving that it's happening. We're showing that it's happening with our driver comparisons, how people are getting different pricing when they're literally sitting next to each other and less than a foot away. Like the phone is literally less than a foot away from the far end to the other far end when it comes to the phones. So like these prices shouldn't be any different. They should be the exact same if they're basing it all the same. So it just shows that it's so muddy in those waters that things need to be cleared up, and we need to figure out exactly what's going on. Or they could also bring another thing like the price haggling. What is that? I think we talked about India or something doing that right now, where you can haggle the price in the app and agree.
Lebanon.
Oh, Lebanon, that's right. You know, we could bring all that. We could figure out the prices and then be happy.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? That's not.
Oh, imagine the ratings for everybody will just drop.
Not gonna happen. Not a good idea for the U.S., bro. Not a good idea for the U.S.
No, it won't. But yeah, either way, definitely we'll keep you posted when it comes to any updates with DOL, when it comes to little Sue there. All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you get notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.